Thank you. With a wish for all beings to be free. Free from the constriction and contraction of held belief systems and thought patterns. Free from the automatic reactivity of learned and held emotional patterns. And free from the isolation and suffering caused by distorted perception. I will always go for refuge to a live, vibrant, radiant, spacious awareness until awareness is ongoing, like the flow of a river. Enthused by wisdom and compassion. Today, in the presence of all Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, of any lineage or no lineage at all, and or any time or beyond time, I generate the mind of full awakening for the benefit of all beings. As long as space remains, as long as beings remain, may I manifest in such a way to ease and dispel the miseries in the universe. Thank you all. I like to mention it on occasion that when I say may I manifest, is personal. That's what came to me that I would like to be. However, I may manifest next. Rolls of toilet paper, great bodhisattva, who knows? All in the same ballpark. So have a look. You don't need me to say it. I don't think there's anything wrong with making a choice to practice so that whatever manifests that we say is you in the next life, that's a whole nother topic. We won't go there. You're actually asking or setting an intention on the path that you want. So you may want to set a path of having a rebirth in conditions, well, in whatever conditions you would like. I think maybe not going for a rebirth where you can watch Netflix all the time is, but if that's what your wish is, go for it. You can have a wish to be a Buddha, a bodhisattva, a saint, or an intention, not a wish, excuse me, an intention. They feel different to me. Wish is like a genie's going to grant them to you, right? Intention is really your path. Where do you want your path to go? The friend that I have mentioned set her intention that had passed, set her intention very clearly, and every day to be reborn in Dzogchen, the Pure Land of Chenrezig. Do I think? Doesn't matter what I think. Her feeling, her intention, her entire being believed that the Dzogchen was possible place for her to go. And I have no reason to think that with that intention and the way she followed it every day, I have no reason to think she didn't go to something called Dzogchen. I don't know. But I do think do feel that intention is important. So have a peek at what your intention might be. And a little bit of care, perhaps. Or not. Just follow your heart. What does your heart say? There's a wonderful quote that's actually in several places that says the Bodhisattva path, which you do not have to follow, it's not for everybody. It's not, it sets the intention to free all beings, no matter how long it takes. To free all beings from the suffering of ignorance, what we don't know, what we don't experience. And directly after that, after having said that, no matter if it takes eons, no matter how long it takes, bodhisattvas take a vow to return again and again until all beings are free. And then with this great intention says in the very next paragraph, there is no such thing as a being, as an individual being. And it just makes my mind go boing, and I can't think about it. So I do strongly suggest that everybody look at their intention. You can change it if something changes for you, but what is it that you really want? The point of that quote is that if we awaken, whatever term you want to use to that, it was my oldest joke. I don't know where it came from. If you awakened, who would notice? And that's the point. The minute you think of yourself as a you, saving all these beings, you're pretty sure you're not awakened. It doesn't go like that. So anyway, said refuge is the first practice that many of us have, or the first, I guess, practice. And it's also the last. So taking a little time to rest into what your refuge is. It is said in these teachings that the Western direction of Chenrezig is the easiest way, easiest path to I don't know what. Dewa Chen, awakening, a pure land. So all it's said, all one really needs to do, and we won't remember in our thoughts. That's pretty clear when we're dying. It just is really a different world for us, and the logical brain that we so have counted on for all this time is not really very present. A couple of you I know have had those near-death experiences, and if anybody goes, oh yeah, you think really clearly, you go, oh yeah, I want to think of Chenrezig and da-da-da. No, generally not the case. So what you practice, as Pema Chodron's title of her book says, how you live is how you die. So if you choose that you would like to point towards the Western direction, say, and you practice Chenrezig, or practice, I don't care what your symbol is, actually. That's not very Tibetan, but that's me. As long as you practice opening your heart and you have some symbol, I think Chenrezig's a nice established line, for sure. direction, then perhaps as your body is dissolving, the elements are leaving, you may point yourself in that direction by habit, not by thought. So what we develop as habits now may be very useful in our process of dying. So there you are. If your practice is truly sitting in open, interconnected spaciousness, I throw in the interconnected because it's not, anyway, it doesn't matter. Then perhaps that's where you'll rest. But it won't happen because we're thinking about doing it. So I've been told lots of times. It's not going to be a thinking thing. So we're basically just trying to adjust our habits to match what we'd like to do, where we'd like to go, what our intention is. Okay, that's my pep talk for today. So I keep coming back to, and we may have done it last week. It's hard for me to remember. It sounds so silly in words. Methods to recognize interconnectedness beyond our everyday life. I was told that Tai Situ, and I wasn't there, I can't guarantee this, but I trust the source. And he's doing some sort of a 3-year retreat by having people meet once a year for 7 years. I think 7 years. And the last time he sat with the people doing this, he said, if you had any idea how many beings are around you, you would be stunned. It's very crowded. I don't think he used the word crowded. But why don't we start with maybe just the idea? If there is such a thing as a bodhisattva, and they have made that vow that we talked about, and why I always add, of any time, where do you think those bodhisattvas are hanging out? If they are beyond time, they've made the intention to be a benefit to all beings, to bring all beings to freedom. According to Tai Situ, if I understand it all, which I may not, that means they're here all the time. They're not something of the past. Oh, these great bodhisattvas walked the earth. No, they're here right now. All the bodhisattvas of any time. And you can include saints. I'm not particularly, well, I guess I say I'm not particularly Tibetan. What if all the beings of any time, including the future, which by the way would include you, that's kind of cool. We just don't recognize it yet. We're always present. Not in form that we can grab onto. If you've met someone of that nature, you're lucky. There are a few wandering around. Garchen Rinpoche comes to mind. Losang Sen, Sampton comes to mind. What if we're surrounded all the time with all the beings that have wakened? With whatever you want to describe. It doesn't matter because our description won't be accurate. We could call it loving presence. We could call it refuge. Don't think it really matters what we want to call it. But can we suspend our, which I still fall into, the solidity of what we think is I and you and this and that. And can we just let that rest for a little while and rest into what it would feel like if you knew beyond a shadow of a doubt and you chose often to rest into the presence of loving kindness in every moment, a loving kindness beyond what we would imagine, perhaps what we've ever experienced. What if it's always here? All those beings, however you want to visualize, picture, feel, hear the presence of all those beings who have basically gone beyond. I don't like the words. Well, the words are not great. Gone beyond? Great. That means they're not here anymore. Not true. What if we suspend our belief systems for a moment? Unless you have this as an experiential refuge. Belief system refuge is a nice place to start, but it won't carry us in times of stress. Experientially, can we rest into that possibility and allow our heart mind to expand into the presence of all those who have recognized true bodhicitta? Let's not worry so much about the words. Rest into what we've been told again and again is. And there are all kinds of words to describe it. But can we let our hearts rest there for today, for a short time? And there are methods. The method taught in this is to think of a time when you either felt great open-heartedness or you felt that coming towards you from someone you perceived as outside. And I could spend time describing what that might feel like, but that's a description. Perhaps looking at a time when, for an instant at least, there wasn't anything to do or grab or fight against, or even, if you noticed, a you, just a sense of warmth and safety. If you have not noticed such a time, and the minute we use the term look all the time, but the minute we look at something, we've separated ourselves. So in this, like falling into a warm bath, where you're surrounded by the warmth of the water, hopefully safe. If you don't like baths, you may have to find another image. Fallen into the arms of Chenrezig Hey, we're pretty lucky. There's 1,000 of them at least. Many arms to fall into. Fallen into whatever image supports that experience of warmth and safety. Points that direction. Many of you know that for me, it's a mama bear. Heaven forbid I see a mama bear out in the wild. I'll probably go running to her with my arms up. Yay, there you are. I have a picture by my area here that someone drew for me, and they drew the space around the bear. I also have a gift that I was given of a wooden model of a bear. Yeah. So pretty familiar for me, may not be yours. What's yours? And it isn't to hold on to that thing. It's to allow that sensation, that opening, that warmth and safety as a doorway into what I'm trying to point out, which is the embracer, and embracing that's always present. Even if we were to, I'm going to be very Tibetan now because the words came. Even if we were to do that for 1 minute, it would create more merit or opening or benefit than some of the greatest texts ever written. That's very Tibetan. Couldn't help myself. Always going on about that stuff. But the freedom, I don't want to put a title on. What a different presence in the world we are with that experience. Yes, your body's going to give out on you. Yeah. Some of us probably sooner than others of us, but we never know. What if for a moment we just imagined by resting in this thing, I really don't have words for it. It's not a thing. We're not separate from it. All that happens when we leave our body is we go home. Home to that warmth and safety. With an intention that somehow we're able to share that with every being that doesn't experience it. How about that for simple? Simple is not a word that's the same as easy. Most of us have been hurt. Most of us have got kicked a few times. Or it's felt like that for sure. Unpleasant things have happened to us. One of the hardest things to do is to let go and trust in something that we cannot grab, we cannot describe, we can only experience. And I don't know about you, there's still a part of me that can get into the, I'm not taking that chance. It hurts too much when it's not there. Ouch. I'm not trusting like that. So it isn't a matter of faith. If we can suspend our fear just for a little while, rest into what we've been told again and again. We're all around teachers that tell us this again and again. What if this is Buddha nature? As simple as that. And if we can suspend our belief systems while we're in a group like this, or while we're in the safety of our own home, if it's safe, and rest in that, rest as that, not separate. Just for a little while. I don't particularly care if people experience that as that. Experience loving presence as something outside of them that they call, and it comes. Who cares? Who cares? What if bodhicitta, as it truly is simply a recognition of how our ignorance of what I'm trying to point out pretty unskillfully is ignorance of that which I'm pointing at, which causes us that isolation and suffering and struggling that we all experience. Being wrapped around like a little ball in a pinball machine. All of us. Chasing our hopes, so terrified by our fears. We can let that go occasionally, just for a moment. Not grabbing at what I'm pointing at. Because the minute we grab, we've separated ourselves. I'm trying to grab that. And it's not grabbable. You are that. It's not a good image at all, but it's funny. I had an image of a fish trying to grab the water. Well, the fish isn't really the water. Never mind. And they don't have little hands anyway, so what's the point? Even if we rest just for a moment, noticing our resistance to even the possibility that we may be surrounded, held in loving presence, for lack of any better words, warmth, safety, not a safety of our body. Our body isn't safe. It's not going to last a life. Well, it'll last a lifetime. That's about it. I guess it has a lifetime warranty. You just don't know when the warranty is going to run out. So that's not a very good refuge. If we allow our imagination to expand as far as it possibly can, and within that, to the edge of the universe, go ahead. To the multiverse, into the past, present, future with no separation. As far as your imagination reaches, your heart mind reaches, is. And then we allow all the beings who recognized interconnectedness, shared spark of life, whatever you want to call that thing that connects all of us in a web, And at this point, for most of us, creates a web of samsara. What if that's the illusion? And it's really an incredible interconnected safety net. Warm. So maybe today, just for a few minutes quietly, we can imagine that. Even if we notice that part of us may push back against that, that's okay. Let it be. Let it be. Don't try to convince it. Don't try to stop it. Just allow that deep imagining. And let's rest there together for a bit. No limits. Not just humans. Probably the hardest place to rest. Do the words radiance, luminosity mean something to you? Then rest in the glowing light. Reaching, touching infinite space, filling infinite space. Warmth of those beings who are not turned into self-focus. But simply shine. Where does a light ray start? Where does it end? Where does a sound wave start? Where does it end? Nothing to be afraid of, and nothing to hope for. Because it's all right here, right now. Infinite, unlimited, open presence. Noticing words. Not in conflict with this particular manifestation that looks out these eyes. With awareness, there's no difference between this manifestation looking out these eyes and every other manifestation that looks out their set of eyes or feelers or antenna. No need to try to fix it, change it. Look out of our eyes with our own bilblah of thoughts, feelings, and perceptions, sensations of the body. all wrapped up. No more real or true than any other being's set of thoughts, feelings, sensations. Open, loving presence, radiance, luminosity, light, sound, big mind, no words, in no way separate from any manifestation, just unrecognized by most of us. Of this, there is no death. How could there be? Without death, what is there to fear? And you may start to feel such an openness, not to just others, but to the little being that is what we call ourselves. No separation, not pity, not, oh, look at those poor little things. Not like that at all. There are no other beings. And we may recognize the irony of our path. Particularly human realm. Our wish so much to grab on to safety, light, love, or to run away from it. And we can't. The minute we separate ourselves out again to try to grab something, we are not present anymore with what is. Ironic. And so we practice not to grab anything, but to be able to relax enough, whether it's by doing a nundro, driving ourselves so crazy intellectually that finally something breaks and we can rest for a minute. So we can experience what has always been, is always present, and always will be. And we can't control it. Damn. Paradox on top of paradox. Maybe the simplest path of all time, and not easy. Too simple. All we have to do is let go. How's that going for you? Sometimes not so well for me. I think that's enough words. I'd like to leave you right here. With my gratitude, thanks for your being here today and creating the space for what arises. May all beings have opportunities where they can truly relax. Oh, may we not grab to the best of our ability. Simply let what is, what we are, radiate out into the universe naturally, organically as it will, touching all beings. May all beings be free. Till next time. Ooh.